The Roman Aqueduct in Segovia, Spain, is one of the most impressive and best-preserved monuments of antiquity. Built by the Romans around the 1st and 2nd century AD, it carried water from nearby mountain springs into the city. The aqueduct's two-tiered arcade of stone arches showcases Roman engineering skill and has lasted nearly 2 millennia. In 1985, the aqueduct, together with Segovia's historic Old Town, was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, reflecting its outstanding value as a symbol of Roman engineering. The aqueduct brought water from the Rio Frio, the cold river, in the Guadarrama Mountains, about 17 kilometers outside Segovia. At the mountain source, the water was first gathered in large settling tanks so that sand and grit could settle. From there, it flowed by gravity along a very gentle downhill grade toward the city. This gentle slope follows principles outlined by the ancient engineer Vitruvius, ensuring a steady flow of water. Once reaching Segovia's walls, the water entered a raised holding basin, which then fed public fountains, baths, and private homes inside the city. The iconic bridge section of the aqueduct spans the valley of the Rio Clamas on 2 tiers of arches. This bridge portion is about 813 meters long and rises up to 28.5 meters above the valley floor. In total, it has 167 arches, 75 arches on the lower level and 44 on the upper. These arches are carried on 128 massive rectangular pillars of cut stone. The lower-level pillars are broad at the base and taper upward, while the upper-level pillars are shorter and slightly narrower. The first section of 36 arches at the aqueduct's start was destroyed in 1072 and faithfully rebuilt in the 15th century. The Segovia aqueduct was built entirely of precisely cut granite blocks in the Roman opus quadratum style, without mortar or cement. Roman masons dressed each block with iron tools so that the stones locked together under their own weight. The keystone in each semicircular arch locks the other stones by compressive force. Because no mortar was used, the massive structure can flex slightly under stress without cracking. About 20,000 to 24,000 blocks, many weighing a ton or more, were used in the aqueduct, quarried from the nearby Guadarrama Mountains for durability. So let's summarize. The two-level arcade is 813 meters long and reaches about 28.5 meters high at its tallest point. It has 75 arches on the lower tier and 44 on the upper tier, for a total of 167 spans. Constructed of large granite ashlar blocks, the aqueduct used tens of thousands of precisely cut stones. Granite's hardness and the lack of cement joints contribute to the structure's longevity. The Romans raised the heavy blocks with wooden cranes and scaffolding. Evidence includes lifting holes in the stone. They relied on the precise block shapes and the understanding of arch thrust. Notably, the aqueduct's cross-section tapers with height, wider at the base, to channel the weight downward. Atop the bridge is a stone-lined, U-shaped channel about 55 centimeters deep. This covered conduit carried the water at a controlled flow. The steady 1% gradient meant the water traveled smoothly through the arches into the city. After the Roman period, Segovia's aqueduct continued to supply the city for many centuries. In 1072 several arches were knocked down during a siege, and those 36 arches were painstakingly rebuilt by the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand and Isabella, in the 15th century. The aqueduct remained in use until the 1800s, feeding the city's fountains and baths. In modern times, the aqueduct has been carefully preserved. It was legally protected in Spain by the 19th century, and UNESCO World Heritage status in 1985 helped secure restoration funding. Today, engineers and conservators monitor its condition using laser scanning and structural sensors. In recent years, the city has restricted traffic vibrations and partially pedestrianized the plaza under the arches to protect the stone. Conservation projects, including careful cleaning and repair of worn sections, continue to maintain the aqueduct's integrity. The Segovia Aqueduct is not just an engineering feat but a cultural icon. In Roman times, it symbolized the empire's power to provide for its cities through monumental construction. Over the centuries, it became inseparable from Segovia's identity. It is nicknamed Puente de los Arcos, Bridge of Arches, and even appears on the city's coat of arms. Local legend adds that it is also the Puente del Diablo, Devil's Bridge, since folklore holds that the devil himself once built it in a single night. Today, the aqueduct is widely celebrated as one of the finest surviving Roman aqueducts in the world. Tourists marvel at its clean lines and durable construction. UNESCO's inscription calls the aqueduct and old town a solemn testimony of history. Thanks to meticulous conservation, this nearly 2,000-year-old structure remains standing in excellent condition, a lasting tribute to ancient ingenuity. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you won't miss new ones.